This is Henry Frederick of NSBnews.net, and I'm here with Jason McGuirk. He's chairman of the Planning and Zoning Board. And Jason, you're running for City Commissioner for Commissioner Hathaway's seat.
Yes, that's correct.
In 2012. What was your thought on hearing about the CRA, establishing a new CRA district on US 1?
Well, I think...
Considering you have a business there as well.
Well, not only do I have a business, but I think it's one of the areas that are in the biggest need of something like the CRA. US 1 is run down, it's blighted. It needs a tremendous amount of reinvestment into that part of the community. One of the difficulties, as I understand the CRA, though, is you have to be in an area that generates revenue, so you can generate the revenue to spend in it. So I like the idea of picking up the airport also, picking up the FEC property. I think that move is a very good idea. I have a little bit of concern about some of the Flagler and Canal Street.
Well, let me ask you about that, because this is politics. You're running for public office. This is not schmooze time. Canal Street's been part of the CRA for 30 years. How much more does it need to take off?
Well, that's a good question, and I think some of the people who can best answer that question would be some of the organizations. It's something that it seems has helped, and the question is, one of the things I'd like to hear from people like Adela Lady with the Merchants Associations down there,
and Flagler,
absolutely, is what they think, how long they think they would need to continue to get support.
Well, Flagler's not included, though. Flagler sunsets in 3.5 years. What I'm getting at is there's a continuation of the CRA. There's a new CRA that's going to emerge after the one sunsets for Flagler and Canal. So Flagler will be out of it. What I'm asking is why the need to include Canal again when US 1 is where it's really needed.
In other words, why pick up Canal?
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like it's a...
Well, I think Flagler Avenue, I think, has... I think the difference between Flagler right now and Canal Street right now is Flagler is actually thriving much more successfully than Canal is.
Is it because of the CRA, or is it because of the actual private marketplace?
I think that the key there is people like Adela Letty and
various
associations. I think it's a mixture of both. I think that the Flagler Avenue group, I think the people down there did a very good job organizing and getting together and pushing Flagler Avenue as a destination with events. And the question is, how can Canal Street do that? Can they do that? Those are the tough questions that need to be asked.
Well, let me ask you this. After 30 years, do you see any new direction with Canal in terms of the potentiality of investing that kind of money?
Well, I think that Canal has a tremendous amount of potential, and I think that talk about a hotel down in the Canal Street area can be tremendous for the area. Now, whether or not and what role the CRA plays in there, that still needs to be determined. That still needs to be thought through. I don't think that it's absolutely necessary, but I think that there's certainly a benefit that can be given to Canal Street through the CRA.
I know these are tough questions, but again, as you're running for city commissioner, I think it's important that the public understands where you're coming from. The other big question I have for you is the CRA, the hospital's allowed to, Burt Fish Medical Center was allowed to leave the CRA, but now there's talk about partnering with the hospital without CRA funding. So how does that? I don't understand that. Do you understand that?
No, I don't understand that, except there's two sides of a coin. It was difficult for me to understand how a public hospital that took taxpayer money was paying into the district in the first place.
Right.
That was a concern.
And the hospital was also concerned that it got nothing for it.
Well, that also concerns me in a different way. If you have one entity saying, I gave money, what have you done for me lately? And they were successful at calling someone out on that, well, who's the next person?
Right.
So to me, that has the potential to create a snowball effect of people holding out their hands saying, I've donated, what have you done for me lately? And if I don't like what you're doing for me, I'm going to threaten to pull out. Now, the hospital's a little different, like I said earlier, because it is a taxpayer-funded entity. It's not a private entity.
Right. So that's a big difference there.
Yes, sir.